Hello 1-2M, welcome to HASS for week 2. Let's get ready. You will need sheet 4 and sheet 5 printed. If you have a paper pack, they are in there already. You'll need a scrapbook. You'll need some glue so you can glue these sheets in. You'll need an eraser and a pencil. And you're going to be conducting a survey later. So you're going to need to think about 2 people you could interview. So this might be someone that lives in your house. It might be mum or dad or a brother or sister. Or maybe you could ask permission to ring a relative or a friend so that you can interview them later on. If you don't have those things, go and grab them now and come back. Okay, so when we are doing our online learning, we are showing our whole body listening still. So our eyes are looking, our ears are listening, our hands are down and still, our feet are down and still, and our lips are zipped. Today you are going to learn how to conduct a survey to collect some data about connections that people have with places. You're going to represent that data in a table, and then you're going to look at the data and analyse it. So you're going to interpret the data, and you're going to be able to make some simple conclusions and statements about what you've found. I know you're going to be fantastic at this because we've already done this in maths this year. Okay, just a quick recap of what you would have done last week. So we looked at the connections that people have with their local places. So our local place would have been the Gap, and you might have looked at an area in the Gap where someone has a connection. So you might have looked at the Gap Village. Someone has a connection there. It might be that they go and buy their groceries from the Gap Village. Now today's lesson, we're going to look at the connections we have with places that are further away. So here we've got a picture of what's this place. We're looking at it in science. It's the Earth. So you might have a connection with someone that lives really far away. Maybe they're on the other side of the planet. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And do you remember Terry, our turtle from Tully? We are going to look at his connections. So last week we looked at his local connections. Today we're going to look at his connections with places that are further away. So let's find out what they are. I can't wait. Okay, here's Terry. It says connections influenced by distance. Hi, he says. Did you know that many of our connections are influenced by distance? We visit places that are closer, much more frequently, so that means many more times, than places that are far away. I have many connections that are influenced by distance. Look. Okay, he goes shopping at Banyan Plaza in Tully because it's in his hometown, so it's close and easy to get to. So here is his local shop, so he can get his fruit and vegetables, he can get some clothes, and he can get some toys. So he goes to the local shopping centre because it's not too far away for him to go. Okay, now this place looks very familiar to me. This is Townsville. This is my hometown. So, Terry's connection to Townsville. We visit Auntie Tony in Townsville sometimes because we can drive there. It takes a bit over 2 hours to get there. So 2 hours is about the time it takes for us to do English in the morning. So from when you get to school until morning tea. So it's a big day visit, or sometimes we stay overnight. So here you can see on the map, there's Tully, that's where Terry lives. His Auntie Tony is in Townsville, so to the south of Tully, so you can point your finger at the screen there. And then that very top red dot there, if you keep going up above Tully, it says friends in Cairns. So he's got some friends that live to the north of him as well. Okay, let's have a look at the next connection. So, says we have only visited Tokyo in Japan once. So here's a map. Again, there's Australia, and up here we've got Japan circled. Because it's a long way away, it takes a long time to fly there, and the fares are quite expensive. So you might have visited somewhere yourself that's far away. You've only been there once because it's too expensive. Have a little think about somewhere where you've been, where you've had to travel a long time to get there. Okay, Terry's next connection. We have never visited Uncle Tom in Canada, North America. Oh, that's a bit sad, isn't it? because it's too far and too expensive for us to go there. Maybe we will be able to one day. So location can affect how often we visit a place. So we go to local places much more often because they are close and easy to get to. It makes sense that you would just go to the Gap Village if you needed to get some bread. You're not going to pop on a plane and fly to Paris, are you? Because that would take too long. So distant places are not as easy to access as they can take a lot of time and money to visit. So now it's time for you to share your interconnections. So what connections to places do you have that are influenced by distance? Do your grandparents live far away? Do you have cousins that live far away? Have you got people that live in different parts of Australia that you're connected to? Think about these people and places that you might go and visit. So if you do go and visit some of your family, how do you get there? If you've got family in Sydney, are you going to pop on your scooter and scoot there? Are you going to ride your bike? Or are you going to drive? Maybe you're going to catch a plane. How often you visit? If you've got a cousin in Perth, are you going to visit them every day? Probably not very practical, so maybe you only visit them once a year. So have a little think. Maybe you want to tell whoever's in the room who are the people that you visit that live far away. How do you get there and how often do you go? Okay, and here are the attributions for the beautiful slideshow of Terry. Alrighty, so I've got some questions for you. How do you stay connected to people who live in places that are further away? You can't see them every day. How do you make sure that you're staying connected? You might use the phone. You might give somebody a call. We're probably doing this quite a bit at the moment because we're not leaving our houses as much. You could send somebody an email. I've emailed you guys. I've been emailing your mums and dads as well. You might send a text message. That's nice and easy and quick, isn't it? Or you might send a letter. Now, why do we choose these methods to connect to people? So I've just popped up a little map here of Queensland. So here's Brisbane. Now, I've got some family that live in far-flung places. My dad lives in Townsville, which is about 1,500 kilometres away, so not incredibly far, but pretty far. Do you think I go and visit him every single day? I can't, can I? So, I choose the phone to connect with him because it's easy. How do you connect to people that live in places far away? How do you connect with your family that lives in a different city? And why do you choose that method? Is it cheap to send them a text message? Have a little think. Okay, so here we've got some stories. We've got a picture here of somebody playing, what's that game called? Is it basketball? It's cricket, that's right. Okay, so here is a story about Jack. He's got a map of where he lives here as well. So let's read about Jack. It says, "Hi, my name is Jack. My family and I go to Bribie Island for a holiday every year. My home is in a small country town called Meandarra, which is a long way away from Bribie Island." So you can see here on the map where he lives, that's his hometown, and this is where he is holidaying. "We have to travel for most of the day to get to our holiday home at Bribie Island. Our Bribie Island holiday has become a family tradition." So that means that they do that quite regularly, so they might do it every year. "We always go at Christmas time." Oh, there we go. That's when they go. "We rent a holiday house near the beach. Sometimes we meet up with other family members. My favourite activity while on holiday is playing cricket on the beach with my brothers." Okay, so we've got some questions about that. Let's see if we can answer them. Where does Jack's family go each year? Do you remember what the place was called? It was Bribie Island. Well done if you got that right. Okay, the next question. Is Bribie Island close to where Jack lives or far away? The answer, it's far away. The next question, why does Jack's family go to Bribie Island? Do they go there for work? Do you remember what he said? The answer is for a holiday each year. Well done if you got that one as well. The next question, why does Jack's family go to Bribie Island only once a year? Have a little think. And the answer is, it's too far away from where Jack's family lives to go more often. Okay, now we've got another character here. Okay, so we've got Ashni here. So she says, hello, I'm Ashni. I live in Brisbane with my parents, so just like us, and my brothers and sisters. All of my family members were born in India, which is a country in Asia. India is very far away from Brisbane. So here's our world map. We've got, I can't see my mouse, oh there it is. Here's Australia, there's Brisbane, here's India, and this is the city she's from in New Delhi. So she says, we went on holidays this year to India to see my grandparents, aunties, uncles and cousins. We had to travel by plane to get to India. It was such a long trip. My family members live in a very big city called New Delhi, which is the capital city of India. This holiday meant a lot to me because I really miss playing with my cousins. We don't get to see our family members in India very often because they live so far away. I know it will be a long time until we can see them again. That's quite sad, isn't it? Maybe you've got some family members that you haven't seen for a while because they live too far away. Alright, now I've got a question here about Ashni. So, the question is, why does Ashni not visit her family in India often? You can call out the answer if you like. What was the reason? It's because India is a long way away from Australia, where Ashni now lives. I think you guys are going great guns at the moment. Keep with me. So the next bit says Jack and Ashni have connections to places which are far away from where they live. They don't visit these places often because they are so distant from where they live. So it's a long way to travel. But they have connections to other members of their family in these places too. So here's a world map. You might have some connections to family members across the world. I have a sister that lives in California, so that's in North America. I don't get to see her very often, but I have a connection to her, and that's distant to where I live. I've got a brother that lives in Minnesota, which is also in the United States of America, so that's quite far away. I hardly ever get to see him. I haven't seen him in 2 years. And then my dad lives in Townsville, so I have family connections in places that are quite far away. What are your connections that you have that are far away? Have a little chat to the person in the room if you like, or you can just talk back to the screen. Have a little look at this map. Maybe you can see those places. So here we are in Australia. Maybe you've got some family in Russia. Maybe you've got some family in Canada. Maybe you were born in the United States of America. Maybe you've lived in Turkey. I know that we've got some very diverse backgrounds in our classroom, so I would really like to hear back from you as well if you liked. If you want to send me a message and tell me what your connections are. Okay, so this is your turn to be a junior geographer. So you are going to do your survey. So the survey is a way of gathering data, like we learnt about last term, and we're going to gather information about the connections that people have to different places. So when you conduct your survey, you're going to ask people to choose one or more responses from the sheet. And let's have a closer look at these sheets that you've got. Now, I have gone and interviewed Mrs. Hayes to show you how to do this as well, so you can watch that video later. Here's sheet 5. I'm just going to go through it with you so you know what you're doing. So here's the first table, and here's the second table. What you need to do, first of all, is to think about the places that you've been to. So here it says person, me, and then it's got the different types of the holiday destinations you could have possibly have gone to over here. So it says beach, farm, capital city, another state, another country, or other. So let's just circle back here to capital city. So a capital city is could be a different city in, say, other than Brisbane. So capital city of Victoria would be Melbourne, or the capital city of South Australia would be Adelaide. So thinking about the capital of each state, you might have been to a capital city in a different country. So you can give that one a tick if you've been there. Another state, so another state in Australia, or another country. So you'll go through, give these a tick. So if you've been on a holiday to the beach, you would place a tick in here. If you've been to the farm for a holiday, I don't know if many people have been to a farm for a holiday, give that a tick. Then capital city, so if you've been to another capital city other than Brisbane, give that a tick. If you've been to another state, you can give that one a tick. If you've gone to another country, you give that one a tick. And the last bit here says other. So this is up to you. You might want to know if your friends and families have been to the snow. You might want to know if they've holidayed in space. Do you think that's a possibility? Maybe it is. So have a little think about that. Then you are going to go and find your two people to interview. Then you're going to record their data. I'm just going to quickly show you the data I collected. So I went and interviewed a couple of other teachers around the school today. So I've ticked here. There's my mouse. So there's all of my responses. So because I'm old, I've been to all of these places. And then I've interviewed Mrs. Hayes. So she's been to lots of places. And then I interviewed a mystery teacher here. And that's where they've been. So once you have recorded your ticks, you're going to go down and count up how many people have been to the first one, which was beach. So I counted 1, 2, 3 ticks. So I wrote the number 3 here. Farm, I've only got 2 ticks there. So 1, 2, so I've written it in there. So you're going to keep going and fill out that table. And then the last bit, you are going to draw some conclusions about people's connections to these distant places. So your answers are going to be different to mine. I'm just going to read out the questions for you. So A, it says, most of the people surveyed have been to for a holiday. So you're going to go back to your table here, and if everybody says ticked the beach, you could say most of the people have been to the beach for a holiday. In this case, it's all. And then the next one says, some of the people surveyed have been to for a holiday. Okay, so that's going to be up to you. You're going to go and find your data. Maybe only 1 or 2 people have been somewhere, so you are going to write in there a place where people have, only some of them have been there for a holiday. And the last one, C, says none of the people surveyed have been to for a holiday. Okay, so now is your time to be a junior geographer. So you've got to find out about people's connections that are further away and how distance affects how we can all connect. So you're going to go and practice your inquiry skills, so you're collecting information using your survey. And our next lesson, you're going to learn about how products connect people and places. Can't wait for that one. So go off and do your survey, glue that into your book. You can watch a video of me and Mrs. Hayes and I doing this interview. So she was very excited to record a video for you guys. All right, I'll see you next time, 1-2M. Goodbye.